Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is a great partnership between Smoosh, TechZulu, Mixergy, and SAble.com. Really appreciate that you come today, and we have a great panel today with us. We have Paige Craig, we have Alan Morgan, Mark Suster, and Stu Roberts. I'm going to sort of let them introduce themselves, take turn and introduce yourself a little bit, and a little bit about your portfolio and your interest area of investment. Okay.
Hi, I'm Stu Roberts, president of Tech Coast Angels, Orange County. I apologize. I feel like the left side of my face is falling off. I was at the dentist earlier today, and I'm all numbed up, so I don't usually drool if that's a problem. A little bit of background about TCA. We've been around about 13 years. We've invested about 110 million of our own members' money. We're the largest angel network in the country. We have about 260, 70 plus members. I run Orange County, about 70 accredited investors. We've had a great year so far. We've had 5 exits this summer alone, two listings, one NASDAQ, one New York Stock Exchange. So things are great. It's a great time to be out looking for new deals, and we're happy to be here.
And as I learned this morning, the Green Dot investment returned more money than the total amount of money that TCA has put into all its deals.
Yes.
It's a pretty good outcome. Yeah.
And I was not in that deal 8 years ago. We're happy.
I see someone pointing up. Do you mean talk louder? Maybe you could shut the door behind you. So my name is Mark Suster. I'm a venture capitalist with a fund called GRP Partners. We invest in early stage technology firms, A and B rounds. We have a national practice, but I have a strong preference for Southern California.
Go ahead. I'll do it. I'm Alan Morgan. I spend about half my time doing my own seed stage, angel stage investing. About half my time working at Idealab, where I'm the managing director of the New Ventures Group, where we're trying to extend the Idealab model outside the 4 walls of Idealab. And whatever time is left over, I'm a venture advisor to Mayfield Fund, where I was a partner for 12 years.
That's a plan, sorry.
I really don't have shit to say. I'm like the bottom feeder. I'm an angel investor, so I go out there, I do small deals, not the size that like Suster's going to do with GRP, but I'm an active angel investor, so I work with founders, try to help them out. It's mainly a passion thing. I really love entrepreneurship, so if you hit me up, you got something cool, I'll invest in you largely because I have some passion for what you hit me up with. I think VCs have a lot more that they think about, right, Mark? But I've done about 30 deals in San Francisco and LA and a couple in New York and Boulder. And that's it. Paige Craig, angel investor, and going to start my own company in LA soon.
The only thing I would say, just to explain that, is you're investing your own money so you can choose to do what you want to do. We invest other people's money. We invest our money also, but when you invest other people's money, for example, when we raise money from limited partners, we tell them the types of investments we're going to do, and they don't expect us to go outside that. So that's why.
Right, so before this panel started, actually Stu and I had a very lively discussion about social media. So this event is actually a part of the Social Media Week in LA. And Stu has some very interesting data, and maybe if you can share with us, and then we can take that on.
Yeah, I had some interesting data I wanted to share with everyone. In looking at this space, social media, and how it's transformed the way we communicate today, I'll just read off my list here. Over 50% of the world today is under 30. Facebook tops Google for weekly traffic in the U.S. 96% of millennials, Gen Y, actively are involved in it, use it. 1 in 8 couples married in the U.S. met through over social media. Social media has overtaken pornography as the web's #1 activity. So
imagine when you combine social media with pornography. I mean, imagine the potential.
powerful. It's a powerful combination.
Wait, isn't that Game Crush?
No, that's what I'm launching.
Oh, you're launching? Okay.
So we'll just end it on that.
That's fantastic. So actually, what's social media? Because there's so many platforms. You know, where does it begin and where does it end?
So I'll give you an example, and this is probably good and bad. I think I've seen Mark talk before about if you're an entrepreneur these days that can't track one of us down, or any investor, you're a retard. No, seriously. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter has made it so easy to track investors down. Right? Mark? I've heard you speak about this, and there's a good and bad to that.
I didn't use quite those same words, but I echoed the sentiment.
Right. But, it used to be very hard, but you should use these tools. And as an investor, I use those tools. I found clout through Twitter. I DM'd the guys, invested them. Just last week, I was in San Francisco, invested in StyleSeat. Melody's friend put a plan up on PlanCast. I saw her profile. She looked interesting. We drank for about 5 hours. I gave her a check the next day. Social media, whatever social media is, but all these social communications, you should use those as tools. I tell Mogotix, I said, use PlanCast. Stalk Dave McClure, stalk whoever you want, find out where they're going, learn about them. If you come to a meeting with me these days, or you go to a meeting with Mark, if you haven't done research out there and collected that data, you're retarded. You're retarded if you walk in not knowing, because we put so much out there. The channels are there, the information is there. Use that as a tool to find the people that you want to have invest in you.
Okay. Cool. So Stu was sharing like a lot of interesting data just then, but is it just eyeballs now? Like for example, Twitter, you got all this traffic, but they're still trying to figure out how to monetize that. So, what is your comment on monetization of social media?
I think social media is basically the use of technology, which continues to change, to allow people to do with technology what they used to do more efficiently in a more leveraged fashion, what they've always done in a clumsy one-to-one fashion, which is talk to each other, share stuff with each other, and interact with each other. But it changes with technology. I mean, certainly 3 years ago, the mobile component of Facebook wasn't important at all. And today, I wouldn't invest in a company that didn't have, from the get-go, what we used to call a converged strategy, which is that the ability to interact with your users is available on every platform that people use to interact with media. So I don't think social media is a market. I think it's a set of technologies that will allow businesses, the smart business, that will allow them to interact with users, customers, in more powerful ways than they could do, that they try to do before social media, but it was not as easy to do.
So, if you think about activities on the internet, about 35% of what every person does on the internet is communicate with other people, whether that's email, whether that's chat, IM, and messaging people on social media. 65% of their time is spent consuming content and buying things. 65% of their time is spent on content and commerce today. Increasingly, what's happening is that everything is becoming social. So if I define social as I'm connected to what people call a social graph, the people who are either one step connected to me or in a LinkedIn metaphor, maybe 2 steps connected with me, whether it's private as it is on Facebook, or whether it's public as it is on Twitter, whether it's symmetric following model, meaning if I follow you, you have to follow me, or asymmetric, like it is on Twitter, where you can follow me, I don't have to follow you, or vice versa. All of these are forms of social connectedness. And what's starting to happen is it's not going to be, I think as Alan was saying, not going to be a separate market. Everything is becoming social. So you go to the New York Times now, and it will tell you, are your friends recommending content to you? Would you like to recommend content to other people? It'll show you what other people are consuming. I interviewed Seth Sternberg today on This Week in Venture Capital. If you haven't seen it, it's a great interview. It should go live tonight. I know Mark was there because I saw him in the chat room. Was it a good show? Excellent show. Yeah, he's awesome. And he runs a company called Meebo. And if anyone knows Meebo, it started as WebIM. Instead of using AIM or MSN or Yahoo or Skype, you could, through a web client, chat with other people. Over time, he realized that when people were on content sites, they also wanted to chat. They wanted to chat about what they were looking at. And as it turns out, if I connect with my friends on a content site, when I'm reviewing content, I'm more engaged with the content. I spend more time on site, I purchase more, and I become more social and engaged on the site. My friends are recommending stories to me and vice versa. And so what they've developed is something they call the Meebo Bar, and they're not the only people to offer this, which is a social layer that sits on websites. It is like if you think about what Facebook's doing. Facebook is saying, here's Facebook Connect, come to a website, sign in through that connection. The reason is they know you're there, and then suddenly, if they want to do targeting for the advertising against you, they can do it because they know who you are because of your link back to Facebook. If they want to be able to do things like tell you who are your other friends on this site, they can do that. What hasn't yet happened is those content companies, media companies, and by and large commerce companies have not figured out how to build applications to take advantage of the fact that all those people are there. And I think that's where the whole market's going. In terms of monetization of Twitter, I just want to defend Twitter for a moment. It's so easy to say, oh, they haven't figured it out. And I don't mean to point fingers at you, but people said the same GD thing about Google, right? And they said the same thing about Facebook. I know because I've talked to board members of Twitter, they know clearly how they want to monetize. They don't want to become MySpace. Facebook does not want to become MySpace. And I would use MySpace as a proxy for trying to rush to monetize at the expense of potentially turning off your user base. Because the one things users have now is choice with their time. And if you lose them on Facebook to Twitter, and the minute Facebook would start to do that, which they didn't, then they're toast. It's really hard to come back from that. So they're being very careful about how they introduce monetization. Right now their focus is third-party monetization, meaning advertising. Where they're going after that, I think it's generally available. They're going from advertising to commerce opportunities. And then they will continue to find other ways to monetize. But I don't think it's fair to say they haven't figured it out. I think that's the populist thing to say.
But I guess my question is not just about Twitter, but as a social media as a whole. So you look back at the last, the bubble in the 2000, the .com era where everybody was chasing after eyeballs, and then the whole thing crashed. How do we know that today's social media is not just a fad? Is it actually real and it's going to be around, and, the